And welcome back to another day of my 30 days of content. Now, I am really coming close to my masterclass that's happening on Monday, November 25th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I need you there. I want you there, but only if you want to be there to learn a little bit more about the 5 steps that I took in order to not only reverse my prediabetes diagnosis, but also get on the other side of the sugar cravings and actually sugar and food addiction. And also I'm asking you to subscribe and share this out with somebody that you think that might be interested, and somebody that might want to hear this information, or somebody that you think might want to hear this information, whether they want to or not. Just send it to because I'm looking for subscribers. I'm on my way to 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and I'm excited about that, but I need your help. And for those of you who have subscribed to help me out, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. So now, myth buster. A myth buster when going whole food plant-based. Now, I went whole food plant-based, and that's how I was able to actually reverse my pre-diabetes diagnosis. I was able to reverse my high cholesterol and also able to reverse my fatty liver disease. And I did it in a matter of a couple of weeks, like literally a couple of weeks. And also, I've been able to really control my sugar cravings to the point where I call myself a recovering addict. Now, when the screams of sugar call to me, they're I don't hear them. They're not even screaming anymore. They're whispers, and I'm able to ignore them and just keep about my way. And it's so sweet on this side. It's so good to be able to say no to that piece of cake or candy or cookie or sweet drink. And I want you to be able to experience the same. And it can be done. For those of you who experience crazy, crazy cravings and are like, no, I'm not addicted. I just crave this stuff. It's important for you guys to listen too, because that's where I started until the cravings got more and more and more and more. And again, they were screaming at me. So some of the myths that I wanted to talk about is that you have to supplement on like everything once you become whole food plant-based, and that isn't true. Primarily, people talk about the first thing you always hear about is protein. We do not have to worry about protein intake. For most people, if you go on a whole food plant-based diet, and the reason why I'm emphasizing whole food is because many people go vegan and they're consuming just as much ultra processed foods as they were before they became vegan, or they're consuming it more because they kind of like they don't know where to go or what to eat. They get confused, like, if I don't have meat on my plate, what am I going to eat? Salads all day? And for some people that's a real thing. Well, I'm your girl. I can guide you in that direction, right? But we're talking about whole food. If you eat enough whole foods to satiate you, and you're consuming enough to give you the energy that your body needs, trust me, you're taking in enough protein. The only time you have to take a closer look at the amount of protein that you're consuming and to know if it's enough is if you're actually consciously trying to build muscle. I just finished a fitness competition, and I'm always challenging myself physically with regards to fitness. So protein is always something that I'm going to be looking at. Protein is something that I most likely will be consuming more than the average because I'm using my body physically for fitness, right? But for the average person who maybe go to the gym or exercise or keep light activity as part of their regimen, you probably don't need to consume extra protein. But that's something that you need to take a look at. And if you're working with a personal trainer, if you're working with a doctor, if you're working with a physical therapist, that's something for you all to determine together. Or if you're working with me, we just take a closer look at it and we establish that together. But other than that, if you're consuming a whole food diet, you're golden, you're good. You don't have to worry about the protein. So with that said, there's a caveat to that. Us women, folks who are getting on in age, maybe 40 plus, 50 plus, you do want to consume a little bit more protein. I just said, no, you don't have to worry about it. Now I'm saying you have to worry about it. I would just be very conscious of the amount of protein that I do consume, making sure it's in every meal. There's some form of protein in abundance in every meal. Why am I distinguishing in abundance? Because every food that comes out of the earth has protein. Every food. Just some of them have greater levels of protein than others do. So definitely take that into consideration as well, because the older we are, the more we want to uptake in protein, the more our muscles need it, and the more we need to retain the muscles that we do have, simply because we're getting older. But the other thing that people tend to be really worried about is B12, and rightly so. If you're concerned about it, that concern is real. B12 is amazing because B12 really it helps it helps with our blood and our nerves. It keeps our blood and our nerves healthy. It also helps with DNA production, so that's important. And B12, in fact, the whole B complex vitamins, they help in our energy. So sometimes if you go to the doctor and you're feeling very, very lethargic and you're on a regular diet or not, the doctor might and looks at your blood panel. He might see that you're low in B12 and prescribe B12 for you, to you. So in that regard, more people than not kind of need B12. But the thing of it is, our gut produces B12. B12 is, we can't get it from plants. That's point blank simple. We cannot get it from plants. Where do we get it from, Carmelle? We get it from the animals that we eat. The animals that we eat, they don't just magically have B12. They actually get it from the grass that they eat. They actually get it from the stuff that grows out of the ground, right? And they get the leaves, actually, to be quite honest with you, and they're the middleman. Their gut produces the B12. Us as humans, our gut produces B12 as well, just not in abundance. Why? Because B12, let's just go rewind a little bit. B12 is a bacteria. And the bacteria grows in our gut and gives us this B12 that we're using. But we live in an antibacterial world, right? So it doesn't come on our plants anymore because we're too busy, getting rid of all the bacteria from our plants, where we have pesticides. Unfortunately, we're eating pesticides, but not the bacteria that we need for the B12. So once the cows and whatever animals that we're consuming, when they consume it, their gut makes the B12. We consume the animals, and then now we have B12 in our system. But since we're cutting out the middleman, we're not going to get it from plants. We're just not. So that's something that we do have to supplement as whole food, plant-based people, vegans. And but B12 is one of those bacteria or supplements that the body actually absorbs quite well. So again, it's a discussion with your medical provider to find out if you can actually, or how much of it that you actually do need. And it's usually not that much, and it comes in a very, very, very little pill. I think it's 500 milligrams that you need. Please don't quote me. Please don't quote me. But you can look into it and supplement with B12 after you speak to your physician. Please don't be like Carmelle said, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist, not yet anyway. So those are a few of the things. I think there was one more thing about B12 that I wanted to bring up, but I can't recall right now. So this is how you get me. I didn't take down any notes this time, so if I'll bring it up in another live. When I go live, I'll be like, oh, by the way, remember? Meanwhile, don't forget about my masterclass on Monday, November 25th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm looking forward to having you there. Just go ahead. The link is in the description for you to register, and I'll see you there. If nothing else, for the support, right? But I promise you, I'll be giving out some good information, and it will be, there will be time for a Q&A, and I want it to be interactive. So I want everybody to come, bring your notebooks, bring your questions, and be prepared to just be interactive if you so desire. I promise I'm not going to put anybody on the spot. I promise. All right. So I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for listening, and thank you for subscribing. Ciao, ciao.